Okay, so if you've been on a GLP-1 like Mounjaro for a while and you're sitting here thinking, why is my progress so much slower than everyone else's? Same. This is my week 11 update on 7.5 milligrams, and I'll be taking my week 12 injection. Welcome to Slow and Steady with Andi. I'm Andi. If this is your first time here, I am 50 years old. I'm a type 2 diabetic, and I started Mounjaro in June of 2025 to help manage my type 2 diabetes and hopefully lose weight. So I'm going to just start out with my least favorite part of this journey, and that is the weigh-in. I am going to pop up on the screen what my scale app showed me this morning. And I try to weigh myself every morning. There's some days that I just don't get to it, but I do it first thing after waking up and after using the restroom and before I start getting, dressed with pants and all that. I try to pretty much be consistent with what I'm wearing when I weigh in. And the good news is, if you watched last week's update, you know that I went from my lowest weigh in so far on this journey of 235 up to 241 over the course of a couple weeks. And frustrating. But this is my 7th month. I'll be going into my 8th month on Mounjaro, and I'm very much used to the fluctuations depending on the time of the month or stress levels, because I definitely know that if I'm stressed, my cortisol levels are up. And if my cortisol levels are up, I tend to feel the bloating in my body and all of that. So even though it sucks to see a higher number when you've been going down for the past few weeks, I did know that, okay, it's going to come back down because I'm not doing anything differently to where I should be gaining weight. So 241 point something last week. Now we're back to the 239 point something. Hopefully, hopefully by next week's weigh-in, I'm back to the 235 or less. That would be really nice. But I'm at least encouraged that it didn't go up anymore, because you guys, I think I might have freaked out a little bit if it did go up some more. So there you go. There is what my current weight is. And I have a long, long, long way to go to reach my total weight loss goal of 130 to 140 pounds. I started this journey at 267, I think, either 267 or 265. And then I reached my lowest so far was the 235. And I'm really hoping that by the time we get to like maybe springtime, maybe May, my 51st birthday, I really would like to be closer to 200, but we'll see. I may be adjusting things a little bit. I don't do a strict daily calorie count. I am a creature of habit when it comes to eating. So when I first started on Mounjaro, I used the MyFitnessPal app to figure out the most common things that I eat. So I would have an idea of what the calorie count was, as well as the protein count, because I do have a daily goal for protein of 100 to 120 grams. Sometimes I will go back to MyFitnessPal and figure out maybe there's a new regular type of go-to meal or food that I'm going to be incorporating. So I'll figure it out. I do try to keep my calorie count around 1600, no less than 1600. And that is what I worked out with my dietitian. At first, I was like, should I do, 1200 calories a day? And she was like, oh no, absolutely not. She didn't even want to give me a calorie amount. She told me 16 to 1800 calories. Absolutely do not sacrifice protein. And as a type 2 diabetic, she doesn't want me on some super restrictive diet. She wants me to follow a diabetic plate way of eating, which is just so many ounces of protein, so many ounces of carb, and then so many ounces of like your vegetables, your greens, that type of thing. So that is what I try to stick to. That's not to say that there might be a weekend where we just get pizza, but if I have a piece of pizza, I make sure that I'm having salad before I even like have a piece of pizza. And that's been working out for me. I fully accept that doing it this way is going to be a slower weight loss. Typically, people with type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance lose weight slowly anyways, but that is okay. I am working with my doctor and my dietitian, and that is what I'm sticking to. And whatever they're advising me to do is what I'm doing. So, now the next big thing is appetite suppression. I think that this week my appetite suppression was much better than the week before. The work stress is dwindling down a little bit already, so that might have helped. I don't know. I don't know what causes it to go up and down. I'm just glad that this week it seemed to be a little more back to normal. I don't think it's as strong as in my first couple of months on 7.5, but it's still very manageable, and I'm not having cravings. I don't have food noise going on. So I still think that the 7.5 milligram is still a very successful dose. However, I did reach out to my doctor's office today, as a matter of fact, because I noticed that I'm about to fill my last box of Mounjaro that the pharmacy has on file. So I sent a message out to my doctor's office saying that I'm going to need a refill. And I did ask if I can go up to the next dose. And I got a message back saying that my doctor doesn't want to raise me to the next dose until after she sees me at my next appointment, which I mean, I was a little bummed out, but I'm like, okay, that's fine. Just, refill my 7.5. And then I happened to look to see, well, when is my next doctor's appointment? And it's not until April. And I'm like, okay, it's January. I kind of feel like there's probably no way that this 7.5 is going to stay as strong as it is right now all the way until April. So I think as soon as I'm done recording this video, I am going to try and reschedule or add in a sooner doctor's appointment, because I do think I should just go up to the next dose, even though the 7.5 is still holding up pretty good. It's not as good as the first couple of months I was on it. And I just really have in my mind that, you know what, I just need to keep staying on this at the level where it's giving me the most benefit, and deal with whatever comes if I get to the highest dose and it starts to wear off. But for now, I want to lose more weight, and I'm not trying to lose weight really fast, because actually it just isn't good to lose weight too fast. If you're losing more than like a pound and a half a week, I'm sorry to say, you are most likely not losing fat. You are losing muscle mass. And if you are my age or older, or really even in your 40s, that is not good, because the older we get, the harder it is to get that muscle back. And I know, we focus so much on weight. Trust me, you guys, when I step on that scale, even though I know my clothes are fitting better, I can see other body changes that my scale isn't reflecting. There is just something about seeing the actual pounds coming off. And one of the things I try to tell myself when I'm feeling discouraged about my weight is I try to envision something. So I've lost 32 pounds since I started. So I try to think about, okay, what does that 32 pounds look like in an object? So I'm just going to compare it to This is a 10-pound weight, you guys, okay? So just holding this 10 pounds, I mean, this is not even 32 pounds, it's 10 pounds. And if I sit here long enough, it's going to start to feel really heavy. If I tried holding it for an hour, it's really going to start feeling heavy. If I try walking around with this every day for a week, it's going to be impossible. So just imagine if you've lost 10 pounds, that is a lot of weight. That is something to celebrate. That is something to be really proud of. And I can't imagine 3 of these on my body. How I'm like, how did I even walk around with that 32 pounds on me? And here I am, I'm still definitely overweight. What's it gonna feel like? Oh my gosh, here we go. If you've been around, I get emotional. But I'm just thinking, okay, my goal is up, 130 to 140 pounds. What is it gonna feel like for that relief to be on my body when I know how much relief I get just from putting this 110-pound weight down? And I just thought it was really important to share that with you. And I hope that if you've been feeling discouraged because you've only lost 5 pounds, because you've only lost 10 pounds, that this will really help put into perspective that that is nothing to feel discouraged about. We just gotta, stay with it, and we will get there. We will, you guys. You're not alone. We're in this together. So moving on, as far as my energy levels, they've been pretty good this week. I'm still getting that tired feeling throughout my workday, but I am just positive it's because of the redundancy of my job, that it's just so repetitive that it like puts me to sleep. So I've been still fighting through lifting some weights like every hour for like a minute, walking on the treadmill for my break time, just trying to keep my energy level going. And I do. Some days I really have to push myself and remind myself, Andy, you know that once you do that 20-minute walk on your lunch break, when you're done, I get this like huge resurgence of energy. But some days it's hard. It's hard, especially in like 5-degree cold, nasty winter. I am not a winter person. I can't wait for spring and especially summer, because I know that I probably will start seeing more of a weight loss because I just do much more activity, especially like working out in my garden, just so much more physical activity. So I can't wait. I'm done. I'm ready for winter just to be done. Now, if you're here and you're type 2 diabetic, I like to also just go over my blood glucose levels, how those are going. And that has all been very stable this week. I had a couple instances where I got alerts because it was going low, but I was able to pop a glucose pill or eat something and get that right back to normal. So Mounjaro is still doing its thing there, which is great, which is super important. So the last area for the check-in part of this is side effects. And this week I didn't really have any side effects. There were a couple of days where I had a little bit of a headache. So maybe it was a side effect of this, because early on when I started the medication, mainly the 5 milligram, I was getting headaches when I woke up in the morning and then they would go away pretty quickly. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it has to do with that. Maybe it's just because our weather has been up and down and up and down. Not sure. But other than that, I haven't had any more of the sulfur burps or a lot of the gassiness that I was having. So everything is really good there. All right, you guys. So I am ready to take my week 12 injection. Again, it's the 7.5 milligram Mounjaro. So I'm going to get everything set up and then we will do this together. So I'm just taking my alcohol wipe, and I think this week, since I've done my thighs the last couple of weeks, I'm going to go back to my arm. So I need to clip this microphone somewhere. Hopefully you can still hear me pretty good. Okay. And got my pen here. Make sure there's nothing broken in there. And I need to unlock it. Okay. And you know how this goes. Your girl gets a little nervous because it does burn. But 3, 2, 1, go. And we're done. Everything looks good to go. All right, so week 12 is done. I am very anxious to see if I have a little bit of a better week with appetite suppression. But oh my gosh, I'm telling you, if there is just any inclination that this is about to totally wear off, I'm going to press my doctor to be like, look, at either you got to get me in sooner or telehealth visit or something because I need to go to the next dose. I do not want to go back to hearing the food noise for sure. So before we get going, I just want to take a minute to thank you guys so much for all the comments that you've been leaving, especially those of you that have been brave enough and confident enough to share some of your own ups and downs on this journey. Not just because they encourage me so much, but especially because they're encouraging other people out there who might feel like they are alone in this. And that is really why I come and do this every week, because sometimes I feel alone in this, and I don't want anyone out there to feel like they are on this journey by themselves. If you feel like my journey might help someone else, then leaving comments, liking, subscribing really does tell YouTube to share this with more people. And that means more people will feel less alone. If you've watched several of my videos right now, you know that I am not the one who comes in on every video and does the whole spiel of like, subscribe, share, hit the bell, all that stuff. I just have always felt strongly that if what I'm putting out there is really resonating with somebody and they're really enjoying it, then I don't have to tell anybody, because I know how I am. When I really like somebody, they don't have to ask me. I just subscribe. But I did want to bring it up just to really make that point, because sometimes when you are a really small channel, YouTube doesn't put your stuff out there. And I just would really like to be able to reach as many people as possible who are slow responders like me and going through the same things that I am. Slow and steady is still the goal over here. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright, and for the first time in a long time I'm alright. I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago.